Hi everyone, to my pool plan video for late August 2021 in DFFOO global version of the game. This video will be covering events specifically where Tidus will be synergy, and you can refer to the cropped infographic on the left hand side which came from Jakematt's global forecast to see which events these are. So I'll be covering the banners from Tidus's raid event, Reno's lost chapter, the release of Setzers LD weapon, boss rush number 5, and the winter campaign that happened in Japan. I'll also be including a timestamp in the video description that you can use to skip ahead to the banner that you are interested in, so do check out the video description. As always, some quick disclaimers regarding pool plans. This is really my own personalized pool plan, and it's based on my level of resources, my preferences, and of course my playstyle. It may or may not be ideal for the next person. As always, when it comes to gacha games and pulling for banners, there's many factors that should be considered, and this includes your current resources in terms of gems and tickets, who you currently have built up in your roster, what content you actually need to clear, and of course who your favorite characters are. Alright, so coming to the first event, which is Tidus's raid event. There will be two banners on this event. The first will feature the release of Tidus LDBT alongside Ares LD and Selfie, and the second banner will feature reruns of Arciela and 7 LD, and will feature Fang with her EX as well. So my plan here is to spend tickets for Tidus's LD. If you've watched my previous pool plan videos, I was very conservative over the last month, basically to build up my resources for both Tidus and the upcoming Yuna's arc. So this is where I will start spending my resources. So I want to use tickets instead of gems here, mainly because I already have all of Tidus's other weapons, and I'm mainly aiming to score only his LD and BT weapons. For that reason, I think I'll start using tickets. From the brothers divine board farming, I already have more than 1,000 tickets, so it's a good time to start using my ticket stash. A little bit about Tidus. He is a character that I really hyped up for. He really fits my playstyle in the sense that he's a turn hogger and will fit very nicely with Core and Cloud of Darkness. And I'm a big fan of no boss turn runs, where I try to quickly zerk down the boss before they get too many turns, or any turn at all sometimes. And Tidus really fits my playstyle very nicely, and I think he's probably sort of like the next step after the whole Terra Young combo. You now have the Tidus and Core combo coming up, and I think if you have pulled for Core before and have his gear, pulling for Tidus represents a worthwhile investment, because the Core and Tidus combo should help you get by quite a number of Lufenia stages. The second banner featuring Arciela and 7 is actually quite decent for me as well, because I actually don't have both of Arciela and 7's LD. That being said though, I don't think I'll be pulling for both of them. At this point of the game, I think both of them have passed their peak usability phase, and really there's many stages where of course you could be using Arciela and or 7, but for me I already have many other characters built up, and more than likely even if I did pull for the LD, I won't probably be using much of Arciela and 7, so I probably won't be pulling for them beyond the free multi-pool that's coming. Right after that, we have Reno's Lost Chapters featuring the return of Reno's LD, and this time we now have Rosa with a rework and her newly featured LD weapon here as well. With the rework and the LD weapon, Rosa sort of bumps up to the current meta in terms of a strong aura bot. In the past, she had issue where she didn't really have any healing in her kit beyond her EX. This has been fixed with her rework, and she now provides healing across most of her kit to the party as well. And of course, she has the unique re-raise buff, which allows you to revive your characters so long as they have the buff before they are KO'd by the boss. Overall, she is pretty decent, and if you are a fairly new player to the game and you don't have a lot of support characters, I think Rosa is a great pickup here. That being said, for me, I'm quite comfortable with the current support characters that I have. I pulled for Porom and I have Ashe as well, and of course there's always the classic Sarah and Paladin Cecile, for example, who also provides HP damage up in their kit. So overall, I'm not too in need of a support character now, and because of that I think this is a good banner for me to skip, because there are other banners in this arc that I really want to spend my resources on. Now, in terms of synergy unit, if I'm not mistaken, Setzer and Waka will be coming as synergy units here, because Setzer and Waka LD banner should be released in very close timing to Rosa's event here, or Reno's Lost Chapter event here. So there's quite a lot of options for synergy characters if you have them all built up, and you can refer to the bottom of the slide to see which characters are synergy. For this stage, I already have Reno fully built with his LD, and I should have Tidus at least with his LD by the time this event rolls around. So for the third character, I can either use Setzer or Waka for synergy in the Chaos Challenge quest, so I'm not really too fast about Rosa at all. Right, as I mentioned, around the same time as Reno's Lost Chapter, Setzers LD will release in a separate banner as well, featuring the return of Waka's LD and Setzer with his newly released LD. And Tidus BT is also available on this banner as well, if by chance you haven't scored Tidus BT by the time this banner rolls around. Setzer was hyped up in JP version of the game because he was the first character to provide rainbow damage. In the global version of the game, he's now no longer the first character because Core actually has rainbow damage in his kit. That being said, it doesn't diminish Setzer's value at all, because Setzer actually provides the entire party the ability to do rainbow damage. And if you've had experience with Core before, you realize how powerful rainbow damage can be if built around properly and in the right circumstances in the stage. For those not aware, rainbow damage allows your character to cap out their maximum brave damage regardless of the enemy's defense value or brave resistance aura. So no matter what, it will always cap out at maximum brave damage, except only if the enemy nulls or absorbs the element that your character is having. So Setzer being able to provide the party with rainbow damage, I think, is great utility. And since we are coming to a stage in Lufenia and pretty soon Lufenia Plus, where brave resistances and defenses will continue to skyrocket, having the ability to ignore the high defense and brave resistance is of great value. So for that, I will be planning to throw tickets until I score Setzers LD. And of course, at this point, if I still don't have Tidus BT, I'm also hoping to score Tidus BT on the way as well. Right after that, we have Boss Rush number 5 in global version of the game. And here we have Leon's LD being released together with the return of Jack's LD, and also of course with Tidus BT as well. Potentially that's a lot of synergy characters, because if I'm not mistaken, both Setzer and Waka should return as synergy here. And of course you have the Lost Chapters before this, so Reno and Rosa should return as synergy characters here as well. So I'm actually very undecided on this banner personally. I already have Jack's LD, and I'm hoping that by the time this event rolls around I would have scored Tidus BT as well. If I still don't have Tidus BT by the time this event rolls around, I will likely pull for Leon's LD, and whether or not I use tickets or gems I think depends on stash size. If I still have more than 500 tickets by the time this event rolls around, then I will continue to use tickets, but if not, I will likely use gems to score Leon's LD. For newcomers, Jack's LD is a pretty good pickup, not because for you to use Jack in your main party, but mainly because Jack's LD call remains one of the most valuable and most used LD calls in the game. It provides a hefty defense down and brave damage up debuff in one frame debuff, and that allows your characters to at least bypass a significant amount of the high defense and brave resistance that Lufenia bosses have. So if you are struggling in past or current Lufenia stages, having Jack's LD call I think provides a great utility alongside Kurasame's call. Hopefully you did pull for Kurasame's LD as well. Alright, so around this time in the JP version of the game, it was winter and they had a winter seasonal campaign, and this featured no new weapons, but it's a triple LDBT weapon featuring the return of Vaan's LDBT, Kefka's LDBT, and Ardyn's LDBT. Alongside this banner, they also featured a very strong rework for Vaan, which really shoots him up in terms of DPS tier. So with his rework, Vaan becomes quite a top tier DPS unit. And if you are lacking on DPS units and have never pulled before for Vaan, this is a great banner to pick him up. And if you actually don't have all three characters before, this is actually a great value for investment because you actually have 3 different LD and 3 different BT weapons that you can potentially pull on this banner. Personally, for myself, I plan to skip, and the main reason for that is mainly because I have everyone's LD weapons here. The only weapons I'm still missing on this banner is Vaan's BT and Ardyn's BT weapon. I actually have Kefka's BT weapon already, and to me I don't see value in pulling just for 2 BT weapons I'm missing. The chances of scoring a single BT weapon is 3%, so it's 6% for 2 BT weapons, and frankly I don't think it's worth the tickets or gems for me. So I plan to skip this banner. Okay, so coming to this part of the video, this is the time of the video where I will be making what I feel to be my recommendations on which characters provide you the most value. And as always, a quick disclaimer that you should always factor in what roles you need more in your roster, and really whether or not to pull for a certain character really depends on how much value they add to your overall roster. I've split the tiers into 3, so sort of recommended on the left hand side, role fulfillment on the middle side, and consolation prices on the right hand side. Recommended units are, as what I mentioned, units that I highly recommend to pull for if you have limited resources. The main reason to aim for these units are because they provide what I feel to be the most value in terms of usability in upcoming fights, as well as being able to complement a wide array of party setups that many people may have. So out of these, I have 3 characters listed here: Setzer, Tidus, and Vaan. I think to me actually Setzer will take the top prize, mainly because rainbow damage is still a very rare utility, and Setzer being able to provide this to the entire party, I think it opens up a new dimension of play, or at least provide a new utility that we have never gotten before. So for this reason, I think Setzer is top pick in terms of value. Tidus, I think I will also recommend Tidus, mainly because he becomes significantly better in terms of DPS, featuring very many consecutive turns in his kit or instant turns, as well as follow-up attacks based on the number of overhead stacks that he has. If you manage to score his BT, he becomes significantly better as well. And you can actually pair him up with characters such as Core and Cloud of Darkness to deal insane amount of damage while taking very few turns. That being said, if you have many other DPS characters and you currently are low on resources, I think overall Setzer is a better pick than Tidus. Out of these three, I think Vaan would be third, mainly because if you have Tidus and Setzer already, I think there's less need of Vaan. It doesn't mean that Vaan is inferior, it just means that to me, I think Setzer provides the rainbow damage utility, and Tidus at least provides a lot of turn hogging shenanigans that you can abuse, whereas Vaan is just a lot of DPS in his kit, which isn't always a bad thing. Coming to role fulfillment, the characters listed here are those that does have value, but their value I think depends on which other characters you already have built up in your roster. So I put Leon and Jack here together mainly because they are from the same banner, and if you haven't picked up both of them, it might be worthwhile to sink in some resources because you can score both of their weapons in one banner. And like I said, Jack is quite a good LD call, and Leon always has the interesting niche where he provides your entire party Brave Absorb so long as the Brave attacks that the bosses do are non-elemental. Currently, no other character in the game can do this. I guess Celeste can actually absorb magical Brave damage, but that's only to herself. So Leon fulfills a very interesting niche which can provide value over a number of Lufenia fights. Kefka and Rosa, they are quite useful units and they provide utility as well. The only thing about them is that their role can also be fulfilled by other characters. So these debuffers, maybe such as Cypher, and of course Tidus will also still be quite a decent debuffer, can be used in place of Kefka. And for Rosa, there are many recent support units that also provide a strong aura bot for your party. So to me, I will only recommend pulling for Rosa if you really need a strong support character and a healer. Consolation prizes, I list all the other LD characters here. Not really because they are bad, it's mainly because you won't have enough resources to pull for all 13 characters here. And out of all the characters, I think the characters listed in the consolation prizes, while they can be useful, I think they provide the least value in terms of usability in the upcoming Lufenia stages relatively compared to the other characters on this slide. So for that reason, I list them as consolation prizes. If you pick them up while aiming for the other characters, it's great. You then have more variety in your roster. But if you did not manage to pick them up, I think it's no skin off your back, and you can always pull them in the future when they come back again. So that's it for this video. Long story short, I plan to throw tickets for Tidus LD. I will skip RCLA and Seven's banner. I will skip Rosa and Reno's banner. I will continue throwing tickets for Setzers LD and hope that I score Tidus BT by then. For Leon, I think I will plan to use tickets if I still have more than 500, especially if I still don't have Tidus BT. If not, then I will probably use gems to aim for Leon's LD. I will skip the triple LD BT weapon, and really by the end of this arc, if I still don't have Tidus BT, I will likely token for his BT weapon as well. I am that hyped for Tidus, and I really plan to use him in many Lufenia stages moving forward. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed the content, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.